Ready for some killer sports betting information? It is WagerTalk Today. We are going to be discussing two WNBA games. We've got Jesse Schule joining us after that with the big bet on Miami and Toronto. Messi coming to Toronto. Tickets are a fortune. We'll talk about that later. He's also got a CFL bet, Edmonton against Ottawa, and we're going to end the show talking golf. We're going deep with Nick Borrman. He's got a bet on a top Canadian finish and what to do with Tony Finau. Andy Lang, my co-host. No Teddy today. I'm Lawrence Presman. You're watching WagerTalk. Andy, how are you, my friend? Thanks for sitting in.
Oh, man, we're up 74 units on the year, had an 8-unit win last week, and we got a 5% Open Championship play this week. Things are great, Prez.
Okay, are you going to tell us about your sex life too? Like just random stuff? No, please don't. Please don't.
Come on.
No, but
whips,
nice haircut.
Chains.
Whips
Thank
and
you.
chains.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, whips
Butt
and
plugs
chains.
for Andy Lang, everybody. Man, I was a rough opening. My first show back in a while, but that's okay. Let's get this moving. Welcome, everybody, to the chat room. Ray, Unknown, Andrew, Eric, nice to see you guys. Ronald Cabang joining us, some WNBA talking. Ron is the number one WNBA expert at WagerTalk, both last year and this year. How are you? What's up? You doing good?
Yeah, things are great. On a great run right now. Over the last 4 weeks, hitting like 72.5%. Like a pretty large sample size, like 40-something plays. So W's been treating me well. $2 Tuesday today too, as well, and it's a 5% play. And I just looked this morning. I have the highest 5% ROI in WagerTalk, like in its existence. So, I think it goes to show like just the rarity of it and being able to hit at a high percent. So, yeah, got one of those today, and hopefully we cash.
Yeah, well, way to go, man. We'll talk about that in a sec. Let's get to some sports betting info right off the bat. The Storm playing tonight. You've got a bet for us, a team total. The line is 85.5. Are they going over or under?
I like the over here for the Storm. This is actually their first road game after 9 straight home games, and a lot of people are going to think about how they're shifting, locations and how they're going to adjust. On the Sparks side, they're coming off of they're coming from Dallas, but overall they are the more rested team. This will be the Sparks' third game since July 9th, but the fourth game for the Storm. If you look at it from a roster perspective, I know Diggins Smith was injured in the last game. She missed like the second half of that game. She didn't finish, but she's not on the injury report today, so I think she's going to be in and be able to push the pace here. The Sparks, they're going to be without a few people. They are already without Brink, who's out for the season. They're going to be without Stephanie Talbot, Lexi Brown, and Lee Yuru is also out as well. So their depth took a hit. But Azura Stevens is back for her fourth game, and she's been a big impact on both sides of the ball. If we dive into the last 10 games for each of these teams, I think the significant advantage for the Storm here is on the offensive side of the ball, because one thing I know a lot of it has been with the fact that they've been at home in 9 of the last 10 games. But in my opinion, if you look at the Sparks defense at home, they've been struggling in that aspect. They're actually ninth in the league in defensive rating when playing at home this season. And, I think from the Sparks perspective as well, they have I think if you're looking from a side perspective, they have a shot to get to the free throw line a bunch. When they're at home, the Sparks are second in the league in free throw rate, while the Storm are second to last in allowing free throw rate. But one of the biggest reasons why I chose the Storm team total over is because I feel like they could really take advantage of the mid-range. That's where the Sparks really struggle on the defensive side of the ball. I think 11th and 12th as far as last 10 and on the season in defending the mid-range. Another thing too, when on the road, the Storm are actually first in the league in pace. So I think pace of play. Another thing too is points off turnovers. They're one of the best teams in scoring off turnovers and in transition. And that's one thing that the Sparks also struggle at. So pace of play on the road here, points off turnovers, success in the mid-range. Those are all reasons why I think the Storm get up and over their 85.5 today. And I stayed away from the side just because I feel like there are going to be some spots where the Sparks can take advantage. Just not confident enough to take the side on them.
Great stuff, Ronald. I like this play. I was a little bit worried about the road situation here, 1-4 to the over, but I think you covered that really, really nicely. And you had a 17-game winning streak in WNBA. Is that right? 17 in a row?
Yeah, wow. 17 in a row.
Yeah. We haven't talked enough about that or celebrated that enough. 17 is amazing. And then when you finally lost one, you were like, the streak is over. And I was like, no, dude, the streak is 17-1. Like you're allowed to keep going with that streak. So congratulations on that. We've got another great game tonight. This one is going to be really fun to watch. The Sun and the Liberty, two of the best teams in the WNBA. Let's talk about the Liberty team total. How are you playing this one?
Yeah, for to start off, the Sun, man, they're coming off a huge win, 27-point win over the Mercury. On the opposite side, the Liberty, they're coming off 2 straight wins, double-digit wins over the Sky. From a roster perspective, I think this is where things kind of get messy, right? Liberty, they're going to be without Benijah Laney. She's been out for a while. Brianna Stewart, Thornton, and Sabali are all questionable today. And from what I'm hearing, there's pretty good chance that Stewart sits, and it's the reason why I want to look towards the Liberty team total under. Even if she does play, I feel like it's still a good solid play to take the team total under. There are a few reasons why. If you look at, so I know people are going to look at the historic matchups between these two teams. The Liberty have owned the Sun in recent matchups. The Liberty are 11-3 straight up against the Sun over the last 2 years since 2022. That includes 9 of the last 10 matchups. The Liberty have won outright. Now, if you look at the Sun, they have not performed well from like that underdog role. In 5 games as underdogs this season, they're 1-4 straight up and against the spread. They're losing by an average of 5.4 points per game in those games. And I mentioned earlier, right? They're coming off a huge win, 27-point win. There were 2 other times this season the Sun came off 20-plus point wins. In those 2 games, they failed to cover both times as favorites. This is the first time as a dog. And then from a matchup perspective, like I said, the Liberty have owned the Sun team. Everything the Sun do well, the Liberty counter very well on the defensive side of the ball. The Sun, 4th in offensive rating, but the Liberty are one of the better teams in effective field goal percentage allowed. The Sun, their offense is 1st in the league in free throw rate, but the Liberty are 1st in the league in limiting opponents to the free throw line. From a trend perspective, overall, the Sun are 0-3 against the spread and 3-0 to the under as road dogs specifically. So I was initially looking to fade the Sun today, but with the news of everyone, being questionable, potentially Brianna Stewart sitting, I had to look towards the Liberty team total under. I think they're already shorthanded, and I think that without Brianna Stewart, their offense is going to struggle. The Liberty team total is 78.5, and the Sun have not allowed more than that in 6 straight games. It's all 78 and under in the last 6. The Liberty, they stayed under this total in 3 straight games prior to the 2 games against the Sky, who struggle defensively and play a fast pace. So those are reasons why they got up and over that total. So for me, win, lose, cover or not, I would look towards the Liberty to stay under that 78.5 with or without Brianna Stewart.
Ronald Cabang joining us, everyone. Guys, I got this, Andy. I got this, bro. Okay. So every Tuesday we have a $2 handicapper. We pick one of the best handicappers at that time, and we sell their feature play for only $2. This Tuesday it is Ronald, and he certainly deserves it. It's a 5% play. If you've ever purchased plays from WagerTalk, our 5% play is the biggest play we release. Ron is on a 27-8 run in these 5% plays, and that's since 2022. So that's only 35 plays since 2022 of the size. 27-8. He's also on a 31-12 WNBA run. He's our number one WNBA expert in profit this year and last year. Ronald, you excited? You nervous?
Both. The 5% plays are rare. So, even though you can go 17-0, the last thing they see is what they're gonna judge you off of. So, I always want to get the big wins, especially these 5% plays. But historically, like I said, man, these 5% rare plays have hit at a high rate, and hopefully we continue doing that.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks for joining us, Ron. Good luck tonight. Guys, take a second out of your time and go purchase that play. Andy, we're not going to get into what did bettors learn. We do have Jesse Schule coming up shortly, but I'll just give everybody, really a quick update on my trip. It was an unbelievable trip. Basically, we flew into Vegas Saturday a week ago. So what is that, like 10 days ago? Saw the Dead at the Sphere, and then the next day we drove to Lake Powell, Page, Arizona, right by the Horseshoe Bend, Antelope Canyon, and the Navajo Canyon. We spent 3 days there. It was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had. If you guys have never been to Lake Powell, I think it might be the most beautiful place in America. It is. You can't even explain it. The pictures do not do justice to it at all. The first day we rented kayaks in 40-degree weather, or as Americans would say, 100 and whatever degree weather. And we kayaked for 10 kilometers through Antelope Canyon, or 6 miles through Antelope Canyon. Then we hiked a couple of miles. The next day we rented jet skis. That was my favorite day of the whole trip. We literally jet skied around Lake Powell for 4 hours, went down the Navajo Canyon. Page, Arizona, honest to God, it is a bucket list place to go. Very few places on this planet more beautiful. Then we came back to Vegas, saw 3 Dead shows, and the highlight of my trip was tripping out on mushrooms with my 20-year-old daughter at the last Dead show. It was a great dad moment. I felt, and I actually, Andy, I don't know if you had this experience with your parents, but I texted my parents saying, I'm taking my daughter to the Dead show and we're going to trip hard on mushrooms. Why didn't you ever do mind-altering drugs with me? And my mom said, okay, she's in now. So my 80-year-old mother is ready to do mushrooms with me now, finally. So that was really the gist of the entire trip. It was unbelievable. And luckily I was Teddy free for like 9 days, which was the best part of it. Guys, if you like what you're hearing, you're enjoying the show, please hit that like button. Take a second out of your day. Make sure to subscribe to our channel, 163,000 subscribers. We could always do with some more. Jesse Schule, how are you, my friend? We need a microphone.
Oh, no, not this again. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Somebody muted me, apparently.
It was pretty quick. The shroom story was pretty quick. I mean, I could have made it longer, Dan, in my ear. And yes, Nick, I'm wild man. Yes. Jesse, how are you, dude? What's going on with you?
I'm doing well. Thankfully, the CFL is paying the bills lately because the Major League Baseball certainly isn't paying the bills of late. But we'll work on that. But yeah, we're going to look at CFL today because that's what's bringing home the bacon lately.
Justin P. writes, feel like I'm tripping on mushrooms listening to this. Wow, Justin, that's so awesome. I'm glad I could be your live mushroom giver. You should join the show. If I felt like I was tripping on mushrooms listening to a show, I'd be listening to the show every single day, 12 to 1 Eastern. We could trip together. So you want to start with CFL? It's kicking ass for you. Let's go. Edmonton and Ottawa. You like over 52.5. This is a Thursday game. Tell us why.
Yeah, Andy mentioned the Edmonton Elks as a 2-1 favorite despite their winless record on last week's show. And he was correct, suggesting they might be overpriced because it was a bit of another joke of a game for the Edmonton Elks, blowing the game in the final 8 seconds, losing 37-34 at home to a mediocre Ottawa team. The Elks now 0-5, 4 straight losses by a 3-point margin in all 4 of those losses. I'm looking at the over, though, because both these teams have excellent quarterbacks. In fact, both quarterbacks rank top 5 in the CFL, 4th and 5th, respectively. And Edmonton's quarterback is a guy that goes by the nickname Macbeth. That's a pretty cool nickname for a quarterback. McLeod Bethel Thompson, 4th in the CFL, just shy of 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 picks, 71% passing. Edmonton's offense has not been the problem. They're scoring over 26 points per game. It's their defense that's not getting the job done, allowing over 30 points per game. Ottawa's defense isn't getting it done either, allowing over 29 points per game. They're scoring just 24 points per game. Ottawa's quarterback, Drew Brown, who ranks 5th in the CFL in passing, he had himself a game on Sunday, throwing for 480 yards, a pair of touchdowns, and a pick on 26 of 38 passing. 7 of the last 8 CFL games have gone over the number. The money's coming in on the over for this game. The total's been bet up from an opener of 48 all the way to 52.5. I don't think the bookmakers have adjusted enough. I think you're going to start to see totals of 55 in the CFL if the scoring continues. So I'm going to jump on the over here in this revenge game in Edmonton at Ottawa.
Like the over on that Friday game, not Thursday game. Jesse, we're moving to soccer. What game are you focusing on? Which one do you want to talk about?
I'm focusing on Toronto FC at Inter Miami. This is not in Toronto, Prez. This is in Miami. Miami is coming off of a loss to first place Cincinnati, and that was a game where the winner was going to be at the top of the standings in the MLS. Miami lost that game. They were 7-0-1 in their previous 8 games. Toronto is coming off a win, but that came against the last place Philadelphia Union, and Toronto had lost 7 straight prior to that. The price is very affordable when you look at where these teams sit in the standings. I got a price right now of Miami minus 129 on the WagerTalk odds board. And the reason I believe the price is so low is because everybody knows Lionel Messi injured his ankle. He's not going to play for Miami for the foreseeable future. Suarez is back. He's not going to play either. But you just heard me say this Inter Miami team was 7-0-1 before they lost to Cincinnati. And Suarez and Messi weren't there for those games either. But the kicker, I think they're going to be just fine without Suarez and Messi, as they've already demonstrated. But the kicker, Toronto's next game. Do you know where that is and who they're playing? This Saturday, Toronto will play at Montreal in a massive rivalry game. So that sets up this huge look-ahead spot. Toronto won't be focused on this game in Miami. They're going to be focused on that next game at Montreal. I like Miami to get the win here at home against a terrible Toronto team.
Jesse, man, I try to watch the soccer thing. The Euros, Copa, both are over. I mean, I give it my all, bro. Like, I sit down, I'm like super pumped. You know, Canada's playing Argentina in the semis. I'm ready to go. At last, like 2 minutes. I watched the F1 series for Drive to Survive. It was unbelievable. I became completely vested in Formula One. I sat down to watch a Formula One race. I made it 1 lap. I watched the Tour de France documentary, 2 seasons, both absolutely exceptional. I know nothing about bike riding. Got totally vested, decided to watch a bike race, made it about 30 seconds. This sport kills me, man. Like nothing
I think I can put it in
happens.
perspective for you, Prez.
Nothing ever happens.
You travel a lot, right, Prez?
A very lot.
So have you ever traveled anywhere where weed's illegal? It's hard to get weed. It's expensive. You got to look all over for it. You finally find some, and it's like Mexican brickweed, absolute garbage, but it's the best you can get at the time. You smoke it anyways, right, Prez?
Smoke it, eat it, insert it.
So that's like watching soccer during the All-Star break. At this time of year, soccer in CFL, you take what you can get. It's just like smoking Mexican weed when you're traveling.
And I played a lot of soccer in my youth, but ultimately all I want is money. So you're doing really, really well in soccer. Tell us what's going on for your clients.
I guess the most exciting thing right now for me is the upcoming college football season, NFL as well. We do have a special on the deals page. You can get my entire first 2 months of NFL and college football. That's through August and September until the end of September for one low price of $249. And why would they be interested in that? My record with NFL and college football the last 2 years in those months, 70 and 24. That's almost 75% winners. That's pretty darn good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
what happens
unbelievable.
And you're also over the summer.
You're also killing it in the CFL. 81 and 49 since 2021. That's a 62% win rate. Guys, if you're like me and you could care less about Canadian football or soccer, just remember, it results in money, and that is something we care about maybe more than tripping out on mushrooms with your kid. Jesse, thanks for joining us, my brother. We love having you on. We'll see you regularly every single week. We're going to try to get you on. You can find Jesse at WagerTalk.com. Andy, my plane was delayed like 6 hours yesterday. I pulled in at like 3 a.m. I'm just, today's not my best. If you guys have ever watched, if this is your first time watching WagerTalk Today, I'm not my best today. You got a big game breakdown for us. What is it?
Yeah, well, last week we announced we weren't having a Monday show because there was nothing going on. And I said, there's plenty going on. And I mentioned a darts matchup. Well, that play hit. So guess what we're going to do today? We're going to break down another darts play. This is in the world match play of darts. This is a parlay. First leg starts today at 2:45 Eastern. Luke Humphreys minus 450 over Stephen Bunting. Humphreys is the number one player in the world. Bunting is number 16. In the darts world, that is a massive gap in talent, number 1 to 16. Bunting barely advanced in round 1 against Ryan Joyce, who's number 35 in the world. Humphreys steamrolled his opponent. Massive talent discrepancy. Take Humphreys on the money line. And we're going to parlay that with Michael Van Gerwen over Joe Cullen minus 310. That is tomorrow. Van Gerwen beat Luke Littler, our boy, Luke Littler, teenage darts phenom. He beat him easily yesterday. Littler's one of the hottest darts players in the world. I love the role that Van Gerwen is on. Cullen is 1-10 in his last 11 matches. He's not that good. Van Gerwen should roll. Let's parlay Humphreys and Van Gerwen get you to minus 164. And that is your big darts game breakdown.
Guys, if you have an opinion on that darts play, please let me know. Write it up in the comments section. Yeah, listen, I mean, darts, Andy, that's more exciting than soccer. For sure.
I have an idea for you. I have an idea for you. With your bad attention span, here you need to attend the Tour de France because you fly there, you party, then you go stand on the mountainside. They go by you once, and in 5 seconds, it's over. The viewing experience is over, and then you can leave. It's the perfect viewing experience for you. You need to spend 5 seconds. 5 seconds there, and you get your money's worth.
No.
I imagine
I'm
on
totally
mushrooms.
Good.
I imagine on mushrooms watching the colors and the bikes go by.
Oh,
that might be pretty fun, right?
Probably do acid. But
yeah, good call. Great call.
But I'll tell you, man, if you've never watched that Tour de France documentary on Netflix, it is absolutely spectacular. I actually think it's one of the best sports documentaries. Last night I started Receiver. We got home super late, but I was all wired up and on West Coast time. So I watched the first episode of Receiver. It was okay. But the Tour de France, I could not recommend that more. And I think there's a darts documentary coming out, Never. Nick Borrman joining us. Nick, I shot an 82, a legitimate 82. Next day, I shot a 94. But at least
that's golf.
I shot an 82.
Justin Thomas did the same thing last week.
I was like freaking out over my 82, dude. I had a 39 on the back nine. I was freaking out.
That's awesome. Sub 40, first one?
Second one, but the first time I got under 40, I got like a 52 or something on the other nine. Dan Alexander writes, "Do you ever see the Dan writes, "You ever see the documentary on free diving?" I didn't know diving cost anything.
Yes, I did.
Was it? That's the one where they do the like all the way down, as far down as you can go.
It's insanity. Yeah. And there's a clip of a guy doing a free diver where like a 600-pound grouper grabbed his arm and just started pulling him down and pulling him down and pulling him down. It's intense, man. It is intense. Free diving,
like it's like insanity. Free solo. The free solo one was insane, where the guy goes up El Capitan or whatever without a rope, which makes zero sense whatsoever. Why would anyone do this shit? Like, who looks at the ocean and is like, I really want to know how deep I can swim with on one breath. Like I'm dying to know. Oh my God, I made it 100 meters. You know what? Tomorrow I'm going to try 101 meters. Like, why? Why are you doing this? There's no, how much money does the top free diver make? What do you think?
Probably not much. It's just the thrill. But I'm kind of with you. It's an odd hobby to be like, I'd like to get as close as I possibly can to drowning and then call it a hobby. It doesn't sound great. But Prez, breaking news. Rabmatic in our chat section says he's already played the darts parlay before he saw this. So we do have a comment on the darts parlay, and Rabmatic backs me up on this play.
So he played the exact same parlay as you.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Nick, we got a big, huge, massive golf tournament starting on Thursday. You are a golf fanatic, a basically scratch golfer, a golf pro. You were a phenom when you were 3. It did not amount to anything, and now you handicap golf at WagerTalk. But putting all that aside, you have a bet for us on Corey Connors. What is it?
Yeah, Corey Connors is an interesting one that, you can get a little bit more in depth if you watch Andy and I's Tea Time episode this week as well. But Corey Connors is a guy that is as steady as they come on the tour, but doesn't get a lot of the fanfare or the flash because he's not really in true contention to win. So he's not getting that TV coverage on Saturday and Sunday, but he's always there on the weekend, right? So he's made the cut. We'll start there in 26 straight tournaments. So dating back to the 2023 US Open, he hasn't missed a cut since prior to that. So you're going to expect him around on the weekend. He's been especially strong since March. He's got 9 top 25 finishes in his last 13 starts, including last week at the Scottish Open. And you look at the results, I mean, they're all the big tournaments, the US Open, Memorial, the Players, Wells Fargo, Arnold Palmer. So majors for events. He's there. He's finishing strong in deep fields. Connors has always been known for ball striking. He's so good at ball striking that he can make up for poor putting, really, and it still gets him, a decent result. It absolutely keeps him from winning, but over his last 22 starts, all of which he made the cut in, he only gained strokes putting 6 times. It just shows you how good he is tee to green. But what the ironic or maybe interesting stat here for this particular golf course and the style of play being links golf. Links golf, you generally have putting greens that are slower. The reason for that is because they they're usually played in a lot of wind. So you can't have the ball rolling 13 like at Augusta on a stimp meter. It's got to be a couple feet shorter. And usually they're around 11, right? So for whatever reason, that's the one situation Connors has, I don't want to say mastered, but done much better at with putting, as he's gained strokes putting in each of his last 5 starts on links courses, which, considering he's only gained strokes putting in 6 of his last 22 events overall, it's saying something where he's done it 5 straight times on these links courses. So the top Canadian, that's why we like Connors, and who we're fading, there's 3 guys, 3 other Canadians in the field. Adam Hadwin, 1 top 25 finish in his last 7 starts, including 2 missed cuts. So he's never finished better than 35th at the Open. Nick Taylor, 1 top 25 finish in his last 12 starts, including 4 missed cuts, only 1 start at the Open, a missed cut last year. And then Mackenzie Hughes, slightly better, 2 top 25 finishes in his last 9 starts, but 3 missed cuts also. He only has 2 starts at the Open. He did finish, actually, in the top 10 in 2021, missed the cut in 2022, did not play last year. So a lot of bad form and not a lot of history in this tournament versus Corey Connors, who's as steady as they come, plus 130. I just felt like it was a great value to take Connors to be the top Canadian this week. He might not do well at all, but those other 3 guys missed the cut, and we're cashing regardless. So I like Corey Connors. You can look at him different ways, but top Canadian was my favorite.
I'm with you as well, Nick. I was stunned to see how bad the other Canadians are on links golf. It's kind of staggering, really, to see how he's that much ahead. Corey Connors, great DFS option this week. A lot of ways to play him, but I like getting that at plus money. It's a guy who I'm always terrified to bet on. You're not scared. You're dipping your toes into the Tony Finau waters. How do you want to play him this week?
Yeah, and during our show, we do talk about Finau a lot, and there's been a lot of reasons. It's kind of like Connors, putting is basically the main reason you don't bet on Finau on a week-to-week basis. But I think he's going to go. He's going to fly under the radar this week. I'm not really hearing many people talk about him, and that's a good thing. I like to take the guys that nobody's really paying attention, because we know what happens when everybody says take this guy and everybody's on the same guy. It usually doesn't go that well. But he's in very, very good form right now, and it's just hard not to see him having another solid week here at Royal Troon. He's cashed 5 straight top 20s, including at both the PGA Championship and the U.S. Open. His iron play continues to be elite. He's actually gained strokes putting in 3 straight events as well, which, that's a huge anomaly for him, but that's his weakest attribute, and he seems to be doing well, or at least confident with the flat stick right now. If you go back a little further, all the way to the Tour Championship at the end of last season, Finau has 19 starts during that time. He's finished in the top 20 in 12 of them with just 1 missed cut. I'd be very surprised if we didn't see him on the weekend and in a links or an Open Championship. Even if you just make the cut and you're not really near the top 20 and you're playing early on a Saturday or Sunday, you can post a good round. And if, the wind picks up, the weather kind of turns, the rest of the field starts falling back, there's an opportunity, even if he's not playing great, to backdoor into a top 20. So there's a lot of good reasons that Finau fits this week. And listen, he has pretty good finishes at this championship. He did miss the cut last year, but he also has 4 top 20 finishes at the Open in 7 starts overall. And last thing I'll say, his very first start at the Open happened to be in 2016. Where was that tournament played? It was played right here at Royal Troon. He finished tied for 18th in his Open Championship debut. We're back to the same track. It should just give him that little bit of, that omen, that extra confidence this week, bring it back to the first place and some happy thoughts. So I think that along with his current form is just going to give him a lot of confidence this week. He also didn't play last week, so maybe you could argue that as a negative because he didn't get the links prep in, but I look at it as a little extra rest coming in this week. So Tony Finau plus 170 for a top 20. I think he's going to be in the mix over the weekend.
All right, Nick, every major, the books give us a head-to-head. Tiger Woods versus Phil Mickelson. What are we doing, Tiger or Phil at the Open Championship this week?
It's funny. I took I think we did this both times. We took Phil at the Masters. We took Tiger at was it the PGA or the U.S. Open? I can't forget now. One of those two, and we won with Tiger. I actually like Tiger this week. The Open Championship, generally, he can hit his irons. He can get around this course. This is kind of one that probably suits him better than even Augusta, to be honest. I know he knows Augusta like the back of his hand, but as far as getting around the track, this is not that much of a challenge for him physically. And he's proven he can outthink anybody. He's put in play the best links strategy that we've ever seen at Royal Hoylake a few years ago, where he only hit one driver, smacked the field, missing every bunker along the way. So I think he can just outthink his way around this golf course and make it through to the weekend. Phil is just in really, really, really bad form. So I actually like Tiger in this situation because I think he can get around Royal Troon, and I think he can make the weekend. Will he be early group Saturday and Sunday? Probably, but I think he can at least beat Phil this week.
Just for the record, Nick, I'll take Tiger on in a thinking competition. Thinking is what I do best. Sit on a chair and think, lie on a couch and think, lie in bed and think. I mean, thinking is my specialty, bro. Minus 110 for the Prez over Tiger in a thinking competition. Nick, you got a coupon code for everybody. Open 20, save $20 off of Nick's Open Championship package. It includes a 5% play. It's normally $39. If you use Open 20, you get it for $19. Tell us why people should buy that package. How are you doing, and what will they get?
Correct. Right now on a great golf run, plus 20, almost 24 units, 23 and change over just the last 4 tournaments alone. Had an excellent week last week at the Scottish, cashed another 5% play there. So back to the well here with a good one in this situation. And the value is just too good. It's $19 with the code. You get all 4 days. I'll have ads, not necessarily every single day, but at least a couple times throughout the tournament, whether it be a round score and 2, 3, or 4, or a round matchup, something like that. So you're getting 4 days of coverage. You're getting the 5% play. You're getting $19. We're in great form right now with golf. It's definitely worth the ticket price.
Nick Borrman. Nick, you and Andy have a show coming up. Is that correct? Have you taped it? When is what's it? Tea time?
Tea time. Yep. We taped it this morning. It'll be posted this afternoon and have all your golf betting needs this week.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us. Andy, before we go, I just want to address my good pal, William Johnson. William Johnson writes, love the Prez except for the drug stuff. William, I've never mentioned drugs in my life. Drugs is just a word made up to describe something a bunch of old people decided was bad for you while they drank alcohol. The irony is unbelievable. As far as I'm concerned, drugs is made in a lab, whether it's DMT or meth or whatever, it's some chemistry concoction. Mushrooms and marijuana are created by the Almighty. You literally walk into the field, you pick it up, you eat it. There's no processing. It's totally natural. It's exactly the same thing as a tomato or a cucumber or a carrot. And if you're going to eat a vegetable, it might as well get you high. So it ain't drugs. Drugs are bad. It is a gift from God himself, and one that we should enjoy and celebrate on a regular basis. Andy Lang, thanks for being here with me. We'll do this again tomorrow. Take us home.
All plays can be found at WagerTalk.com. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Myself and Prez will be back tomorrow. Good luck on your plays, and we'll see everyone on Wednesday.